Welcome, Bowling fans. It is Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Time for Outlawed Live. Myself, Ron Stone, and my buddy Mike Idle. Mike, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, just another day here in paradise. And Ron, we've wrapped up a good portion of the season at this point. By and large, a slew of our competitors have been crowned points champion. Yeah, here we go again. Here we go. Hey, if you know, hit us up with your best adjective that means multiple out there. But no, really, we got another handful of points champions crowned. We're down to one pull, 2 sessions left on the year, just a couple of points battles. And, it's crazy that the season has gone by as quickly as it has. A lot of slugfest, a lot of hard-fought battles, some that came down to ties and points and overall winner's break there. And some runaway victories, too. So a lot to break down as we start tying a bow on the 2025 season.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. We got 6 new points champions crowned after the weekend. They'll walk across the stage and pick up the winner's trophy, a points title trophy for their class. Pro Stock 4x4. Keith Hammonds, that's 8 now.
Number eight ties him for 5th all time. It's interesting that him and Alan Andrews, totally separate classes, but have now developed a side-by-side competition, and the two of them climbing the ranks. Alan picked up his 8th, and for about a week or two was one ahead in the ranks there with Keith. Keith grabs his number 8, so they are both now tied for 5th of all time. Now, Ron, when you talk about top 5 all time, points champions out there, and there's several in the number 5 spot. I should say also we got a couple Olmers that are in that number 5 spot as well, but you're getting into some elite company when you're in the top 5 of all time. So congratulations to Keith picking up that 8th national point title, 8 in 9 years. Is that right?
Yep, 8 out of 9 years. He lost to Derek Brown.
Yep.
In high class grass and
Holland
grass in 2020 COVID year. Yep. So Case Conover checking in from Lytle, Texas. Case, I'm sure you're getting ready as we are for Lufkin, Texas, dragging and pulling in the pines. I'm getting tinglies all over my arms just thinking about it. Man, we're going to have a month off, Mike. We're going to be ready to go pulling in October, my friend. This is going to be a big deal down there this year. Added the diesel super stock 4-wheel drive trucks to the schedule down there this year. So this thing just keeps getting bigger and bigger, Mike. I'm thinking here in a year or two, we're going to have to go 2 tracks, 2 sleds down there.
It's one of those that, Ron, it's almost a surprise to me that it's not, because this is one that outside of the outlaw circles, before I even came on board, was getting talked about a lot. This was one that people were tuning in as a destination pull, and I just kind of had in my mind that it was a 2-track show. I'm a big fan of a single-track show. I think that it can create a very tight atmosphere for the fans, but I've heard a lot of things about this one, that it's growing. I've heard that what started as a semi-truck show, that crowd has really nosed over and said, wait a minute, this pulling stuff is pretty cool. We kind of like coming over here and watching this every night. So
the guys, the promoters,
everybody down there,
the promoters, Ronnie and Josh, they connect with all the fans there. And of course their businesses kind of help them connect. They're both in the trucking accessory business and trailer business down there in Texas. And they connect with these fans all the time. And the things that the fans have told them, the thing that they love the most is the pulling. So that's where they're not focusing 100% of their efforts to pulling, but they are putting a big emphasis on it. They brought in some extra stands last year, filled them, some of the rental stands, grandstands. I think if they brought in 2 or 3 more, they'd fill those this year as well. Also hearing some rumblings, rumors that we're going to have some friends from California come out, 2-wheel drives and mods, some friends from Kentucky again, some friends from Illinois, adding that super stock diesel truck class. There's going to be a lot of pullers in Lufkin this year. We're going to max out that single track, buddy. I mean, usually about 60 hooks on a single track is about, that's about tops. And I think we're going to start pushing the limit on that single track down there this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a 75, hook show down there. Like you said, that's about maximum for what you're going to want on one of those. And like you alluded to, the MLM guy is going to be coming out and, throwing down there, as well as a lot of our good friends. We've kind of made some buddies from Illinois this year. We've seen a lot of those heavy hitters from in the mod class from Illinois, Unionville 2 weeks ago. And they said, go ahead and look for us for next year. They said, we've really enjoyed running the mods at this weight, not having to drop down to 62, running it at 74. And, Papa Wayne, he had a great time up there at Rock Valley, had a great conversation with him. He made sure he went home with a Outlaw t-shirt. So we'll have to see if he's got that on. He said he was going to wear it loud and proud to the next event. But yeah, Texas, one of those cool places where all corners of the country run what you brung and hope you brung enough, because the Outlaws are throwing down, buddy.
Yeah, it's good. And of course, that's going to be the points finale for the only 4 classes now left. And that's 2-wheel drive, super modified 2-wheel drive, modified tractors, pro stock tractors, and limited pro diesel pickups. And you obviously know that one always comes down to a shootout. But Skyler Leaper got a little bit more of a cushion this year than he's had in years past. It's not in the bank for him just yet. He's going to have to do the work, put the work in. But got a little bit of a cushion, a little more than last year. Not as close as it has been in the years past.
We've talked a lot this year about, I've kind of tried to carry on the narrative of who I would say the puller of the year, the hooker of the year, the MVP might be. And I've talked a lot about, the season that Keith Hammonds has had, just the dominant performance, the season that Kason Petch has had. Yeah. It's getting hard to ignore Skyler Leaper with what he has done kind of Wisner forward. There's just not a lot of holes in his game right now. If he's an NFL team, he's the Philadelphia Eagles,
Oh,
off the show for saying that wrong.
You had to go there, did you?
But
you had to go there.
There's not, I tell you what, he's not missing much. I mean, Skyler is just, firing on all 6 right now. So,
and I'd be offended if I was him that you used an Eagles reference there.
I'm a Chiefs fan too. It's just, boy, I watched it and it's just hard to. It just kind of is what it is. But no, Skyler, he's another one of those. I think you got to throw his name in the hat for one of the best seasons that we've seen him have this year.
This is the most dominant. He's put the most space between him and Wayman that we've ever seen here with the Outlaws. I mean, he obviously has the dominant truck this year. I think somebody who had a really good pass on Sunday at Spencer at the Clay County Fair was Preston Collins' new truck, the Optimus Prime. He actually put in a good pass. They're starting to get some good data now on that truck. And he's going to be, of course, down in Lufkin at Dragon and pulling in the Pines. Now, he tells me that they are going to bring a 3.6 turbo and some bar tires, and they're going to switch turbos, switch tires and wheels, and pull both classes in Lufkin with that truck.
I like. So you're talking the 3.6. He's going to pull like a pro stock setup.
That's a pro stock, but super stocks. The pro stock diesel pickups will mix it up with the super stocks and sometimes beat them. Depends on the track. You're not pushing as much horsepower. But the super stocks, of course, they're not full throttle till mid track because they will literally blow the tires off of them if they go full throttle right from the get go. So sometimes a lot of horsepower, but just a little less than the competition, you can find your way to a victory there because the rest of the class has blown the tires off and tried to put too much power to the track that wouldn't take it. So,
but what you're actually talking about, you're talking a 3.0 truck. You're talking a limited pro stock truck is going to come in with a pro stock setup, pulling in the super stock class. So we've got a lot of layers to how that's going to break down. That's going to be neat to see. I like the 3.6 setup. I think that's one of the most overlooked classes in pulling. I like the 2.6 setup. There's a lot of layers to those diesel trucks. They all put on a good show. That's going to be neat to see what happens down there.
Yeah, that Steve Larson checking in from Illinois said it was good to see us in Cambridge. We had a great time in Cambridge, Steve. That was a fun pull, as well as Donaldson, Iowa. I'm hoping we'll be back over there. Next year's leap year, things are a little how can I say, challenging on the schedule for next year. So many events have moved up and some have moved back, but we're looking forward to coming back to Illinois this year, and potentially there's a couple more we might be attending over there in Illinois next year. We'll see how things pan out. James O'Harmon checking in from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Lufkin is a big deal, man. I'm excited for it, Mike. I wish you could come down. It is so fun. With the drag racing, the truck show, the concerts, the truck and tractor pulling. There's so many things going on. Such a great cause, the Mission 22. And I can't say enough about the promoters, Ronnie Kelly and Josh. Man, those guys are super good guys. And 100% of the proceeds go to Mission 22 to fight veteran suicide and the Wyakin Foundation. And I'm trying to help them with a little bit. I've kind of come up with my own little thing to raise some money, Mike. Mission 22, okay. If you log on to Mission 22 on Facebook, check them out. They're there to fight. 22 veterans die every day of suicide. They take their own lives for whatever reason, PTSD, depression, survivor's guilt. And we're losing our heroes, the people that have fought for us. So they want to stop it. They want to curb it. They'd love to wipe it out completely. So my promotion is for everybody out there listening, and I'm going to be promoting this on social media as well, is sometimes they do a push-up challenge. Mission 22 does. If you check out their Facebook page, you'll see this. I'm going to do a push-up challenge. I'm going to challenge myself, and I want people to sponsor me. It can be individuals or businesses. I'm going to start on, let me see what day that is, Mike. I'm going to start on a day, which is, let's see, the 27th of this month. And I'm going to do push-ups every day through the Saturday night session on the 18th of October. Okay, that's 22 days. In 22 days, I'm challenging myself to do 2,200.
How many push-ups are you going to do every night, Ron?
I'm challenging myself to do 2,200 in 22 days.
22.
So that's average of 100 a day.
You're going to do 100 push-ups in a day?
That's my challenge.
I noticed you said I'm going to do push-ups every single night, and I was waiting for you to say I'm going to do push-up every single night.
100.
Because that's about 100. Where I think I'd have to get going at. 100. Ron Stone is going to do 100 push-ups a day. Ron, by the time you show up down there in Lufkin, you're going to need a bigger sized polo because you're not going to be fitting into it because your shoulder's going to be so big.
Well, I do have a little shoulder thing. I do. And I'm taking some supplements for that. But I do push-ups every day. I don't do 100 every day. But I'm challenging myself to do 100 a day on average to get to 2,200 on Saturday night of Lufkin. If you've ever been to Dragging and Pulling in the Pines in Lufkin, Ronnie Kelly invites people from the crowd, workers, people from the crowd out on the track. They'll have a couple hundred people on the track to do 22 push-ups.
Yep.
And he runs Kelly's Truck Parts, and he'll sponsor it, and he'll give up several $1,000s just for those people to come out and do that, to give to Mission 22. Super cool deal. So I'm challenging, and if anyone wants to pledge tonight, now don't go overboard, because 2,200, I want everybody to pledge so much per push-up. So
sure,
you don't want to do $1 a push-up. That'd be $2,200 if I got there. So depending on a company, a company might be able to do that, but individual, unless you got the cash on hand, I wouldn't do that. But all that money, if this comes to fruition and I do it, I'm going to give it all to Mission 22 down there in Lufkin. So doing it for the vets.
You're gonna check in from time to time, get some videos.
I will.
And, are you gonna get like a counter going on Facebook too? Kind of let us know where you're at. I want to go whole hog on this thing out there. Do you have it set up anywhere where they can donate to this, or even furthermore, Ron? Because I know this is something that you really believe in. I've heard you speak about this a lot. Is there somewhere that our fans can go or can talk to promoters if they want to donate towards Mission 22 or the mission of this pull? Is there a place where they can go online right now and do that? Is that set up that way? I don't even know.
Oh, absolutely. Dragging and Pulling in the Pines. You look it up on Facebook. Do you have Facebook open right now on screen share?
Yeah, I'll get it. I've got the Mission 22 right now. I'll go ahead and show the fans
go ahead and show that.
Yeah. So
I know we kind of jumped off topic here, but we're going to go back.
But this is, I know that this is important, and I like that this stands for it. And I think this is one of those things, Ron. You hear us how we open our show. We open our show with a prayer. We open our show recognizing veterans. We open our show with the national anthem. There are certain things that the Outlaws just stand for, and this is one of those things that we stand for. So this is something I feel that we can take some time and talk about. So the Mission 22 Facebook page right here, I went ahead and started following that. And, like Ron says, this goes to prevent veteran suicide out there. You want me to look up Dragging and Pulling in the Pines?
Yeah, look. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm. So we got some of our stuff right here. Where do you want me to go to on this? Anywhere
Scroll
specific?
down right there to the flyer there, right there in the middle. The pictures over there. I think that's the flyer you want to look at. The middle of the photos. Right. Yep, there you go. Wow, I wish we could blow that up a little bit, but
Yeah, I can get one for you. I know what
Yeah, I know they had a post with that poster on it. They have some posters that are simply for each individual event. There's so many individual events. There you go. Scroll through some of that stuff. Super cool stuff we got going on. There you go, Mission 22.
Yep.
Some of their sponsors they have going on down there. They are having Pro Stock 4x4 down there as well, Mike, but it's unsanctioned. It's not. I'm not sanctioned. It is sanctioned, but it's not a points hook. Pro Stock 4x4 and Texas Hot Farm also, which is basically our light limited pros down there as well. Just neither one of those classes are points hooks. It's become one of those pools where the pullers actually, a lot of them are still in harvest and such, but they'll still ask me, can you get our class in down there, just because they've heard so many good things about it. So
how does the Texas Hot Farm, you've been down there, you've announced it, I've watched it on the live stream the past 2 years. Dollars to donuts, is that light limited pro stock?
They're light limited pro. They're light limited pro.
Is there a dime worth of difference between them, or is there?
I haven't looked at their rules lately, Mike, but I know several of those guys will come up and pull with us.
Yeah,
the Dearly Devoted, John Deere, Sutherland, with the Case IH.
Larry Jester spent the majority of his whole summer up here with us,
And then Warren West.
Mm-hmm.
They bought that tractor out of Missouri, the one that, I can't think of his name. Can't think of his name. Help me out here. Pro Stock 4x4 driver.
Oh, yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
Al
Ferguson, the fuzzed up. Yeah, they got the old fuzzed up machine. Yeah.
So that one's down in Texas now. Warren West driving it. I think actually, I thought that Wagers had bought that tractor. I know.
I was under that impression as well, that it was in their camp some way, somehow. Speaking of Wagers, they're going to be closing it out. I almost said this weekend, next month. Kind of a cool thing we do here at Dragon and Pulling the Pines. And it looks like the way things have shaken out over the weekend, I haven't double checked it. When I looked this morning, it looked like their two tractors had moved into a two-way tie for first place.
Yeah.
And that's going to be one of their closest pulls to home. Those Oklahoma guys going down there to Texas, looking to finish the season 1 and 2. I can specifically remember standing up there in the announcer's booth in Ravenna, first show of the year. You and I were kind of elbowing each other saying, these guys have figured something out. How neat would it be to see them win a points championship their first season out?
Oh,
and what are their odds of doing it? I don't think that it's in the bag just yet either, Ron.
No, it's not. And, Lacey was unable to make a hook over the weekend, so that dropped him down in points a little bit. He was leading. Caden was there with the kids inherit. Now Caden is showing him in the first spot, but are they tied right now? Is that what it's showing?
As of this morning, but I know that you had said, some of the things on the app was kind of getting caught up, but as of this morning in the pro stock class, and I'll bring it up really quickly.
That's going to be a father-son
454 points each. The Kids Inheritance and the Must Be Nice tractor are tied, and then Cody Yarrick sitting 6 points behind them. Now
don't count him out.
Well, that feels like that's going to take a couple of monster passes, and it feels like they might have to leave the door open. But Ron, we saw what Cody has done there, what he did there last year. Mega pass, huge pass. He likes that track. So, we're not done with that class just yet.
Zook Fukerberg says down there they run at 9,000 pounds in Texas Hot Farm.
Okay.
So that's the difference. And he said they run a 3x3 turbo. So there's restrictions on the exhaust side of the turbocharger. Let's see. We've got a question here. Why the big change in classes at Spencer? No two-wheel drives, light supers, no mods. That was the Fair Board made that decision to go to one track. And that's why they had to make some cuts. I know that the year before, last year, we'd had the flooding up there that affected Spencer, and they even came out and said, we didn't advertise like we should have, so the crowd was down a little bit. I don't know. I heard a rumor yesterday. I haven't talked to anyone there at the Clay County Fair yet this week and planning for next year, but a little birdie told me that someone new is in charge and ready to go back and make it a big deal there again. So
cool. That's always exciting. And you'll see that with polls. You'll see that with fairs. them kind of go in different directions, and depending on, how zealous, the new blood is and whatnot. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see that pan out for 2020, 2026 it'll be.
Yeah. Yep. 2026. Bedford, just got off the phone with them a little bit ago. They're kicking around the idea of going 2 days, moving a date possibly to make it happen. They don't want to interfere with Spencer. That's a possibility. There's some other new stuff in the works. I don't want to let the cats out of the bag just yet, but a lot of things happening right now.
How exciting and how fun is it in the off season? Nothing beats end season pulling, but I think your role in the off season would both be very stressful, but almost like a team owner going out there in free agency. Ron, when you're looking at building these schedules and hearing guys saying things like, we want to go 2 day, and hearing maybe this group over here saying, well, we've always wanted to pull, or, maybe hearing, oh, this great big pull wants to come outlaw or whatever. That's got to be kind of fun in the off season, I would imagine, kind of building this schedule and loyal to our good pulls as well,
When things go your way, yes. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. But sometimes people are just kind of kicking tires, They want to check it out, see if it's possible. And most of the time there's more than one person making a decision. So
sure,
you're dealing with boards, groups of people, and, either the majority, has to rule, or I don't think any of them are unanimous, but usually it's a majority rule. So everyone has different opinions, a lot of times. So, but I'm excited with the things that's happening right now. That's going to happen. We think are going to happen next year. Pretty excited about it. So yeah, Mark J. Ham checking in. He was up there on Sunday at the Clay County Fair. But yeah, let's talk about some points champions that were crowned this weekend. We talked about Keith Hammonds winning the Pro Stock 4x4, which closed out in Spencer. Let's see, limited Pro Stock. Justin and Brian Deck going to win limited Pro Stock. Came down to a tie with Gary Barrett, literal tie. The tiebreaker in that situation is how many wins. The most wins breaks the tie. Deck had 6 wins. Barrett had 1. That breaks the tie. So Brian and Justin Deck win the limited Pro Stock.
So that officially, this is one of those things that I think is kind of worth talking about too. That will be the championship goes to the tractor. That'll go to the Dream On tractor. But as far as the driver, that will be credited to both Justin and Brian. Is that how that one's going to go down into the record books?
We'll credit both of them with that.
Yeah.
I think Justin did more driving early on, and Brian kind of took over as it got. I don't know if it's when school started or what, but I seen Brian in the seat a lot more towards the end of the season for them. So, but they had a great season. Of course, they tore up in Buckner, but still had enough points to, 2 drops in that class. They had enough hooks where they had 2 drops, 2 mulligans. So they were able to drop 2 of those zeros basically, and tied with Barrett and won the tiebreaker. So
to kind of update on the fly then as well. So, and this is, I do want people to understand this, because when I talk about so-and-so's multi-time point champion, this is kind of how I keep those records. So this is to the world, me telling them, and this is just my own, what I have my Google Drive. They're not official by any means, but they're what I talk about all the time. So that's actually a points championship that'll go to Justin, and then a points championship that'll go to Brian. So that'll be Justin's first Outlaw points championship, and that'll actually be Brian's. It looks like that'll be his 3rd points championship that he will have credited to him in some capacity. So 3rd, moving right on up, good job right there. And congratulations to Justin grabbing his first.
Heck yeah. Light Limited Pro, our guest coming on here in just a little bit. If he gets signed in here, going to be Brady Gosler, spare time. He's been knocking on the door for a while, him and his dad, Bubba Gosler. They did have a points championship several years ago, but they've been the bridesmaid and haven't actually walked down the aisle in a while. So those guys are going to get them a points championship.
Finally have a repeat champion for the first time since 2014. I talk about this a lot when I announce, if you go from 2014 to 2024, 10 years or 11 years in the Light Limited Pro Stock, you had 11 different champions. So Brady Goslar going to grab his first points championship since 2017. So we can finally look at a 10-year span and see a name on there twice for the first time in a very long time. That class is wildly competitive. So, yeah, they were 2017 points champions, back there points champions in 2025. So some repetition, very much unlike the pro stock four-wheel drive truck sheet that, we see as one name on there quite a bit. You see 10 different names on the light limited pro stock sheet. So cool to see a double up points champion for the first time in a decade.
Yep. Modified four-wheel drive, Murray Thornton Thumper, out of Bedford, Iowa. The Thorntons, ruling the top three there. In modified four-wheel drive. So had a good showing in that class this weekend. A lot of trucks at both events in modified four-wheel drive. The boss, John Yancer, won.
Just about to say, kind of a curveball, a little bit of a dark horse in a truck that always sounds a little different. It sounds hardy. It sounds healthy. And it's fun to see him get a win out there. Murray Thornton, the Thorntons have just got to be such a consistent team. Another team with just very few holes in their approach and their game. That's going to be Murray's 4th overall national points championship. And he strikes me as a puller with a lot of pulling left in his future too. So it's going to be neat to watch that team kind of climb the ranks over the next 10 or 20 years or whatever they might have left in them.
I have to say that Yancer's hook there, he was the first through half the classes in Spencer, the first hook won.
Sure. Daytime pulling, right?
Half the classes, the very first hook won. But Yancer's run, literally when he finished, in my mind, and I almost said it, I thought that could be the winning run right there. It really sounded good. He had good speed, and it was his birthday, I think, was Monday. So I had mentioned before he pulled it, what a good birthday present that would be if he could win here in Spencer. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the Thorntons, Murray Thornton, for that. You got to congratulate them all. They're a team. They help each other. So I don't think they really care which one wins, but they do help each other a lot on the pulling track. So that's modified four-wheel drive. Let's see, we did pro two-wheel drives. Of course, we'll finish in Lufkin. 540 light pro, John Narragon. I'm going to win that 540 light pro class. That class still struggling for numbers. This year was kind of weird. Had a lot of breakage, like the 4-1 class. But a lot of people getting a little afraid of these things now that the cast iron blocks are not going to hold up. I know we had one team hold out after they ran in Rock Valley.
Yep.
And said, you know what? There's so much breakage. They were afraid to run it. The Grimes, they until we get a billet block and put it all back together, we're not going to run it the rest of the season. And they didn't. He stood by that. Gerald Grimes stood by that all year. So let's get to a point where they're making enough horsepower where, these cast iron components, these stock type components will not hold up.
I don't know. I think about this often, the single charger class, especially. I kind of put the 466 class in its own category because, it's a smaller motor over there, but all of your 640s to 680s single charger classes, I think about it all the time. And I haven't arrived at what my opinion is, but I definitely feel like something in the next 20 years in pulling is happening, whether that means we're going to see some classes combined or we're going to see some adjustments made. We've seen it kind of quickly with that light pro stock class where they came in as an ag class and then very quickly they decided they're going to be a component rear end class. And so, and now exactly what you're saying with them pushing as hard as they're pushing, I don't know. I don't want to speak on that yet, but I think about it often. It makes me wonder what the future has in store. They're all individually by themselves phenomenal classes with their own identity. And I love watching all of them. But I think something's going to go somewhere in the whole global shift of pulling in the next 10 to 20 years. Don't know what that is. Don't know how I feel about it, but I think it's going to happen.
Well, I'll tell you something that's going on, and not to open this can of worms on here.
Yeah, because I feel
is basically the 4-1 class. We've seen our numbers kind of drop this year in that class. And that class is, the turbocharger is limited to 4.1 inches on the intake side. So everybody gets the latest and greatest. And of course, a turbo works better when the components inside the turbo, the wheels are lighter. So they make those wheels thinner and lighter. And of course, they spin faster. and then they're not as durable and things break. And then, of course, they're making more horsepower, so rear ends break. We've seen cams break this year. It's just really hard on them. And like right now, if we look right now at the standings, Mike, in limited pro stock, second, third, fourth, fifth, and no, wait a minute, fourth. I'm not sure about Roger Rui, but second, third, fifth, and sixth, I know for certain are broke.
Well, and I'll just go ahead and throw one more thing in there. And it was on Facebook. It was public, so I don't feel like I'm number 4 is for sale. So whatever he definitely feels something in that too. So in one way or another, they're on the inactive roster. You could put it that way. I'm going to continue with my sports references. I watched a lot of football yesterday. So, that they're, and that's the 4-1 and the Outlaw 4-1s are some of the hardest running, most competitive, best identity classes out there in the world. But things happen this year.
The conundrum we find ourselves in with that class, Mike, is not only the Outlaws, but other organizations are considering the same thing. And we're kind of working with these organizations, talking to them about potentially going box turbocharger in that 4-1 class. Sticking with the 4-1, the size, and make true to the class, the tag we put on that class, the 4-1 class, keeping it realistic here, but going back 150, 200 horsepower drop to make that 4-1 Charger more durable. It worked in the 5-inch Pro stock class, but the conundrum we find ourselves in too, 5-inch Pro is allowed to run component chassis, aftermarket rear end. 4-1s are not. 4-1s are not. So those rear ends are not as strong, but yet they're starting to eclipse the numbers that we're seeing in Pro stock. Mm-hmm. So what does it mean to have two classes? I mean, give them a couple of years, are they going to be wanting component chassis and rear ends? You know what I mean? So are they going to be wanting, a bigger pump? So at that point, what do you have? You have two classes that look the same and have the same horsepower numbers.
Yep.
So we've got to do something. Plus, you're going to wear people out. I mean, I know we have a grueling schedule, but people, when you're bumping, you're trashing 4 turbochargers, expensive turbochargers in one season, that'll burn you out. That'll burn your wallet out as well. Yeah. So several reasons that, we're looking at, and we've talked to pullers, we've had some Zoom meetings, we've talked to other organizations, what they're going to do. I know what my opinion is, but I think we've got to do something to fix this.
It feels like the tire wars. Do you remember the tire wars in NASCAR in the late 80s or early 90s?
We're having that right now in mod tractors.
That's what this is. This feels, and I know the gut reaction, Gardner Stone, run what you brung, hope you brung enough. That's tractor pulling. The neatest, sweetest, most completest, as Dave Bennett would say. You never want to go backwards. And the idea of thinking, we're going to go backwards 100 horsepower. But when NASCAR said we're going to go to one single tire manufacturer, the sport was better because of it. I don't know enough mechanically. I don't. My fans, you guys know that. I'm a sports guy. I'm a words guy. I'm not a mechanic. I'm just telling you, it feels like the tire wars. So there's an answer. There's an answer. I don't know what that answer is.
If it also keeps teams from getting a huge gain where they find something like in a turbo, they try some exotic turbo from one of those, and they get these huge gains. It does kind of pull that back to where they start looking at other places for horsepower because the turbo is already set. So, they start looking at cams and things like that and look internally to make more power. I mean, look at the NHRA, Top Fuel Drag Racing. They scaled it back to the big tracks to 1,000 feet instead of 120.
Yep.
And they're still going 343 miles an hour now this year in 1,000 feet. And they're restricted on tires. If their tires are 1/8 of an inch too wide, they don't, they get punished for that. The superchargers, everything, they could go faster if it was unlimited.
Yeah.
They could.
Yeah.
But, you got to have, we don't need two classes that mirror each other.
Sure.
Yeah. And not only, they already kind of mirror each other in appearance. We don't need two classes mirroring each other in performance. And that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed with that class.
Yep.
So I think we've hit all the new points winners here.
Connor Fry. Did we get Connor Fry?
Oh, Connor Fry. You're right. You're right.
Connor Fry, last one on there. Congratulations to him. First national points championship. And Ron did it the most backwards way from everybody on here. We talked about Keith Hammonds came out, dominated, win after win after win. Justin and Brian Deck, they win a slugfest with Gary Barrett. Connor Fry was Mr. Consistency. I'm going to be at every show. I'm going to just get a little bit better. Every time this truck goes out, I'm going to win the war, not the battle. In a class that saw a lot of breakage in its own right, he kept that thing together all season long, and I thought he was one of the most improved vehicles out there. Congratulations to him grabbing his first national championship in the Pro Stock Semi division.
Young Ace Dar, a new young gun that hooked for the first time on Saturday in Bedford. That's Richard Dar's son. He's going to be driving that truck from now on next season, I think. But he got to hook, and we're going to label him as, you know, a driver of that truck as well. I think he's 16 or 17 years old. Definitely a young gun there. So he's got the bug, and I think even if Richard goes back to one truck, I think Ace will probably be driving that truck. Of course, Richard Dar. I mean, we had the two trucks from Minnesota come down. We had a good semi class. It was fun to watch in Bedford. But thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, that truck that was built out of parts bin and had many drivers throughout the summer besides Connor Fry. Several other the diesel pick or diesel.
That was a weird thing about. At any point, I never knew who was going to be in which truck. You know, Brent Roberts was just as likely to be driving Connor's truck as Richard Dar, as Joe Bear, and we even saw Doug Ortwich get out there and drive a truck at one point in time again this year. They were kind of just a group in amongst themselves.
You know, Doug has a truck sitting in the corner of the shop there, and I kind of give him a little ribbon each time I see him. You know, hey, when are you going to get that truck out and get it ready for next year? And I don't know. I think I want to keep at it till he actually gets it out.
Felt, you know, he had a grin on his face in the winter circle at Wisner. He kind of acted like, hey, this might be the spark that I needed to light the flame again. So,
yeah. So look, without further ado here, let's bring on our guest winner, 2025 points champion, light limited pro stock from Ute, Iowa, Brady Gosler. Brady, what's up, buddy? Uh-oh. I had a feeling this was going to be a problem. Can't hear you. Hit your...
You're muted on your side, Brady.
Not yet. Let's see. Yeah, it still shows your... Oh, we had him. Can you hear us? We can't hear you yet. You got to unmute it. There should be a microphone.
There it is. There it is. I bet he's good now. Say something, Brady.
There? Wow, it's still not.
Okay, so you're unmuted in StreamYard, so you're hard muted on your computer. So look down at the top row on your computer and see if you've got something, a button up there. I've got a button on mine that I push right here to unmute it up on my keyboard.
Sometimes your computer won't allow StreamYard access till you allow it to have the access on there. Nothing yet, huh? Well, shucks.
Well, while he's getting that sorted out, I will kind of talk about what I saw in his season. You know, Ron, this was one of those classes. I spent a lot of time with the light limited pro stock guys this year. They were kind of in a lot of the pulls that I can hear him now. I can hear the ambient noise.
I heard something.
Nope.
Yeah, I thought I heard a child in the background. A couple.
Yeah, I feel like I can hear some of that. What did you tell me it was one time? It's a very live room or whatever. You can hear all the extras in it. But anyway, watching that light limited pro stock class this year, early on, it was a kind of a wide open class, and I really felt that Brady was right there all year. And at Weeping Water was kind of where he turned the corner and kind of never looked back from that point on. And you know, another one of those that was just constantly there in the top three. But there's a lot of tough bullets in that class. You know, the Giras had a really, really good season early on. Brad Lundell is one that's kind of an X factor that likes to show up from time to time and just grab a win. You know, so that was a hard fought class. But Brady very consistent, and then he grabbed that win at Weeping Water, and I don't think he ever fell out of first place from then on out.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do here to get Brady on here. I can't. Yeah, it's all on his side. It's all on your side, Brady.
He says here, I can read his lips. He says, I can drive the wheels off a light limited pro stock tractor. He says, man, that thing, I'm right as rain. He goes, but these keyboard things right here, this is not where I want to be. He says, there's no roll cage. I don't have my helmet on.
Mike, I bet that young man to his right probably knows more about the computer than he is.
That's what I was wondering. We might need a hired gun. Now I will say, if this is the kiddo I'm thinking of, and the fun part is Brady can hear us, but he can't say anything. If I believe this is the kid that drives, Little Time or whatever they call it. They've got a garden tractor out there as well that they run. So he pulled a couple of times. He pulled the big track at Wisner. I don't know. He might have pulled up there at, is it Moville? I think I get Moville and the Mars mixed up, but I think Moville has some garden tractors. So we got a future puller right there sitting over there on the Little Time. And Brady also had, if it's a tractor I'm thinking of, had a nephew or someone else that pulled regional a couple of times this year on the spare time tractor. So getting the whole family involved. Alan Ulmer, give anyone a bush light who can help him out. Figure out how to.
We'll give him some time to figure it out here. So I swear, every once in a while I'm hearing something on there.
Yeah, you can hear like a white popping and hissing. You get some ambient noise from time to time.
So, Brady, you said last time he won points title, him and Bubba, was 2017. So first repeat in 10 years, right?
Yeah. So if you go back 2014 to 2024, 11 years, you had 11 different champions. So now we have the first one in that time span in a class that dates back to, let's see, my notes show that this class goes back to 2013. Actually, Ron, so we'll go more than that. In the entire time that this class has been a points record class for the Outlaws, so going back from 2013 to 2024, so even longer than I thought, we did not have a repeat champ until now. So he is your first ever two-time points champion in the light limited pro stock. Now, it is kind of interesting. It's worth noting you do see some other points champions in here when you look at this list. They've just jumped over into different classes. You see things like John Narragon got his first ever points championship in the light limited pro before going up to the 540. And then you just see some other really heavy hitters that jumped into other classes. Roger Rui, Tristan Myers, Lauren Paulson, ones that have kind of went on to other classes. But first two-time light limited pro stock champion. That's got to count for something.
Heck yeah. Mm-hmm. Perseverance there. Anything yet there, Brady? No? You know sign language by chance?
It's great because we're almost getting the gist of, and Brady's one of those guys. He's the nicest guy you'll meet in the pits, and you can almost just feel his reaction to everything we're saying right here. So, folks, you're getting a one-sided interview. You're getting something,
I think if you go into your computer settings and allow StreamYard to use the microphone, I think that might be where the problem is. Does yours do that to you too, Mike? Every time I log on to StreamYard, I have to give
you can go into the StreamYard settings, and allow and use. But then it's really funky, if you plug in an external camera, it's going to try to. Sometimes it doesn't know where it's trying to get the sound from, and there can be just all sorts of goofy things that can get in its way.
Alan Ulmer says you need a pen and a paper.
We need one of those, like a whiteboard, where it comes up and says yes or no and whatever. So that is unfortunate, right. but that is.
If we can't get it done, we'll bring him on next week too. Yeah. We don't want to do him like that. So, so anybody have any questions out there? This would be a good time to ask questions. I mean, I want to throw a couple of questions out there. I want to throw a couple, and we don't have to solve it all this week, but. What's more important to fans, the fans that are watching? What's more important to you when you go to a pull? Is it the most numbers possible, or is it a good quality show? I'm getting into this with a lot of people. Me as a fan, sure, I like variety, but I never counted hooks until now. As a fan, I grew up watching tractor pulls from 3, 4 years old up, and I couldn't wait to get to the pits just to see what was there. But I don't remember a time saying, "Wow, they only had this many hooks," or "They only had that many hooks." It was always the quality of the show and the competition that was more important to me, not only as a young fan but as an adult as well. Um, Mike, where do you fall in this category? What's the most important thing to you when you watch a tractor pull?
I try to keep a kind of a temperature on what the fans are feeling and saying, and read a couple blogs and forums out there. And this has been, you're asking a good question, Ron. A lot of people out there after, and I'm not going to bash it, so I'll just come out and say it, like after a Bowling Green, for instance, a lot of fans were kind of saying that, and they were kind of just expressing that point. They were like, "Hey, this is awesome. We love pulling, but like after 60 vehicles in a class, like that's a lot. Like that's just a lot to break down." And I don't want to say it's a short attention span, because that's an easy thing for today's generation to be like, "Oh, well, they just can't sit still." But 60 is a lot. 60 is a lot. You talk about quality of show. Ron, would you rather watch 5 heavy hitting tractors and those guys are going after it, or would you rather watch 15 tractors but 10 of them are field fillers? So I think that there's a balance. I think on a single track show, 60 to 70 is a phenomenal bread and
That's
butter
a lot
number.
for a single track.
And I'll say this too. I don't mind. I 20 to 30 is a really, really good number for me in a class if the prep crew is spot on. It's almost less about what's the total number. And for me as a fan, and I used to keep charts on this, I was a nerd. It was, how long am I waiting between hooks? If I'm seeing a piece of iron go down every, what was Rock Valley doing it, every 1.9 minutes or 1.4 minutes, that's keep them rolling. I didn't drive to Rock Valley to sit in the hotel room, so let's rock and roll. But I do think if you get to your afternoon show comes to an end and you don't even notice because the evening show has started, 60 vehicles in a class is a lot. There's a lot of factors there.
Well, I will touch on the attention span because there are studies done on this. There are other sports that are doing things to try. Major League Baseball, for one.
Baseball, absolutely.
To try to speed up the show because people don't want to sit there, for 4 or 5 hours watching a baseball game. So I think, if you get to see the whole show and it's a great show, I think you walk away thinking, I got to see everything that was there. I got to see the class I like. But if you leave after 3.5, 4 hours and you kind of feel like you didn't see everything, something's kind of left, and then of course if you didn't see the class you wanted to see, then you might be a little upset even. But I just think we need to get back to, this is my opinion, shortening the shows up a little bit, 2.5, 3.5 hours. There are shows that want to go 4 or 5 hours because they want to sell beer in a beer. So, but to the average fan, and we're trying to build, we have a fan base now. Okay.
A great fan base.
You and I, we will sit at a pull. If we're in the stands drinking beer, you and I will sit there till the last tractor goes down the track. We'll watch them put the weights and put the sleds away. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because we're diehards. But if we're going to attract new fans for the longevity of the sport for the future, I think we need to start thinking outside the box a little bit. I really do. It's not about how many hooks you put down the track. I think, my opinion, I think a few people here are agreeing with me. It's the quality of the show. It's the quality of the show. And you were talking about numbers. I think a good pace is about 15 vehicles an hour on one sled.
That's booking. That's if you can, or what I noticed, what I really started thinking about since I started announcing, if you can cap right at a class per hour. And then that kind of shows that the old days, 12 to 15 in a class, but if you have a class that lasts more than an hour, that's where I do think you can lose your audience a little bit, and it can get hard. Who's winning this? What happened? I don't even remember that run. That was 48 trucks ago, So build the competition within it, and I think, yeah, that's a good way to put it. A class per hour would be kind of my thing.
So you think of that, if you got 60 hooks and you're moving at a good clip at 15, that's a 4-hour show right there.
Yeah.
60 hooks on one sled. So that's what I'm talking about. That's a pretty long show, actually. I think yesterday or Sunday we were moving. We were averaging 14 an hour in Spencer, and Light Limited Pro came up. There was a quick weight sled change. Light Limited Pro didn't finish that average off. They actually were faster than the rest of the tractors, the rest of the classes, and we ended up finishing about 30 minutes earlier than the pace we were on before that class. So, but yeah, 15 an hour is a good clip, pretty good clip.
Yeah. And if fans want to go back and kind of find some hidden jewels on this, and I've said this for 2 years, go to your fullpull.live over the wintertime, a pull maybe you didn't watch. Go back and watch West Point, Nebraska. Those guys, Ron, I know maybe big answers aren't the number, but for whatever reason, they've had pretty big numbers the past 2 years. First year I did that show, 99 hooks, 2 hours, 45 minutes. This last year we had like 116 hooks, 120 hooks, 3 hours and 20 minutes. I mean, the pace is just, it's easy to stay invested, when the pace is good. But I do think there's a limit. I think you take it too high and maybe it's not there. Brady's back. We might be able to see if he's got some audio.
Yep. Let's we'll catch him here in a second. Another thing I want a shorter show for, so I could go drink beer with my friends like Brady Goslar. You know what I mean?
So that's almost, so another way I would put it, I would almost say it has less to do, and I think Kurt Van Beek would agree with this, less to do with how long the show is and more just what time does it physically get over. If we can see the end by 10 or 10:30, that makes me, I'm not it. But Ron, I'm surprised you said that. You're just starting to wake up at 10. You're just hitting your stride at 10:30. I'm ready to go to bed by 10:30.
And it's always in the back of my head that I know Brady's got Cold Busch Light in his cooler waiting on me, and I can never make it over there.
As long as you bring the guitar, it's always fun.
Yeah, you know what? The guitar didn't come out at all this summer.
I know, I was a little disappointed.
But it did it white right for just a little bit. But I had a thing going on my throat, so had a bump on a vocal cord, and the doctor. I actually did more than I was supposed to, Brady. But he said no talking, no whispering, no coughing, no sneezing, any of that. So, but here I was out there announcing, and Mike helped me out a couple times this summer to give me a break.
When the doctor said no talking, by the way, what do you do for a living? What was his reaction when you said, I'm an announcer and a singer?
Well, he said, when do you announce next? And that was the week after Rock Valley. And I said, well, I think I had 2 or 3 shows that weekend. He just looked at me over his glasses. I didn't say anything. It was a disapproving look. But I made it through. So hopefully I have a follow-up appointment I need to go to here pretty soon. So to check it out. But let's talk about Light Limited Pro. Let's talk about Brady Gosler. He's got his cell phone he's using now, and we have audio. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just getting ready for the harvest that's coming at us.
I hear. When does that start? You haven't started?
We were going to start this afternoon, but there's a chance of rain coming in about 6 o'clock here. Well, we missed that one, but so we just figured if it doesn't rain, we'll start in the morning.
You have a cart driver?
He's learning.
I was going to suggest Mike Idle. I think.
Oh, there you go. We'll take all the help we can get.
That would be a blast. Now, I hear grain cart drivers get yelled at, and I would not have a clue what I was doing, but I'm not going to lie. That sounds just inherently fun. I will come and be the gravity wagon man any day of the week.
Sounds good.
They do tend to be the butt of many jokes during harvest, do they not?
Yep.
Yeah.
So tell us, man, how's it feel to win a championship this year? It's been a while.
It's been 8 years. I laughed. I look back in the records. In 2017, when we won the very first hook of the year, I got 11th place. This year in Ravenna, if you look back, I got 11th place. So evidently, I got to start the year in 11th place to be able to win a point championship.
Not superstitious at all, are we?
No, not at all. But yeah, I guess if I come out swinging, I can't finish the season. But if I start on the other end, I can claw my way up, and yeah.
speaking of Major League Baseball, Kurt Koima is telling you that the Red Sox still suck.
They finally beat us last series. The old Yankees finally got us.
One thing I will never understand, and like I said, I'm a sports guy. I bring the sports, background knowledge into tractor pulling. How does a man from Iowa come to root for the Boston Red Sox and the Green Bay Packers? You have the most random assortment of fan gear out at the track of anyone I've ever seen, and you're not bashful about it. It's on full display throughout most of the season.
Yeah, the Red Sox, I got to contribute to that to my uncle. He was a huge Wade Boggs fan back in the 80s, so he got me started that way. And then, the Packers, it's, the only green and yellow football team. You got to root for them.
Oh, that's okay. Okay.
Oh, that's it, huh?
There we
Green
go.
and yellow.
Fair
Okay.
enough. So, first ever, you are the first ever repeat champion in the light limited pro stock class in the Outlaws. Going back 2013, my first year that I have on record. There's been a different winner every single year. Does that kind of mean something extra special to you, or does that just show how hard it is to come out on top in this class? What are your thoughts when you hear that? You're the first person to ever do it twice.
I love the fact that I'm the first person. Everybody wanted to be the first person to win it twice, but it is a testament to how strong everybody runs in the class. I mean, you can pull a name out of the hat any night, and Wisner, there was 31 of us there. I mean, Any one of the 31 could have won that class.
Oh yeah, that always big numbers in that class for sure. Who's the bigger pulling fan? You, the little guy beside you, or your dad?
I tell you what, the one beside me here, he's full bore into this. You've seen him a lot this summer with me. He went more this summer with me, and then we'd get home on Sundays and take him to his pull. So I think he's got the bug, and he could be the bigger fan right now.
Here's a good question for you from Alan Ulmer. Would you ever change classes?
You guys talked a lot about the 4-1 and the breakage. That was always the class I wanted to move to eventually. But you know what? After the last 2 years watching that one kind of scares me. So as of right now, I think I'm pretty content.
But if we were ever to rein that in, would that be a possibility? Would you want to move up?
Yeah, eventually, I think, try something. Really, that 5.0 pro stock class is really intriguing now.
Yeah.
That class, you don't see a ton of breakage in it, and them guys just put on a great show.
Yeah, that box charger really has done well. I know Doug Roberts took a lot of heat for it. Kurt took a lot of heat for that in the past, but now it's one of the most popular classes in the country.
Yeah, when just you look at Sunday, there was 4 or 5 limited pros, and there was 9, 10, 11 of the pro stocks. They're and put on a great show. So I mean, that's a class that really intrigues me.
How many turbos does it take to finish the season in light limited pro?
This year, one. Year it was one. In years past, anywhere from 1 to 5.
Oh Lord. Lord. So yeah, there's a trade-off there. The latest and greatest, they're more expensive and they make more power, but you never know how long they're going to last, right?
Exactly.
There's Andrew Meister checking in, says very deserving to win the championship. Put the miles in and put the time in. Says congratulations to you guys.
Thanks.
Of course, Andrew won the championship last year. Had a good run last year.
Yep.
But I mean, the one thing about your class is it reminds me of Super Farm a little bit. Mike and I have talked about this on prior shows, that it's so competitive. And like you said, anybody can win on any given night.
Yeah.
There's not one tractor that's dominant out there. You really don't know who's going to win it.
No. And the thing is, for the hour or hour and a half our class runs, we want to win. We want to beat everybody. But as soon as the helmets come off, we all hang out together. It's a great group of guys we pull with, and that's what makes the class so fun. So that's another hard reason to get out of that class, is because we all get along so good.
Brady, give us a name, give us a dark horse pick, because I do think no one's ever surprised when any of you guys win, but there are some regulars up there. You see Mason Brink up there, you see Hargens up there, you see yourself, you see Giras. Who do you see in your class that's, maybe going to be a big mover in the next couple of years? Who's someone that you think, given 2 or 3 or 5 years, you're kind of watching and seeing them put the pieces together in that LLP class?
Really, you got to look at Kenny Beeson, Doug Davis, Keith Keyshaw. Them guys really turned it on this year. You know, I mean,
Keyshaw had a good season this year.
Yes, he did. Yeah, them guys, them three guys, you always got to watch them. They, on any given night, they get her hooked to the track. They'll make a heck of a pass.
You know, first month into the season, month and a half, it looked like the Giras were going to run away with it. I mean, they looked really good early on in the season. But
that tractor came out strong this year. That was, you know, he swung for the fences the first. I think he won the first 2 or 3 hooks.
Yeah, something. Yeah, it was. We talked about it a lot. I know. I can remember Mike and I talked about it a lot, how well they were doing, and kind of. I know Mike said they come out of nowhere, and of course we knew they pulled with us, but they just didn't pull points. They really didn't in years past. They just they'd miss a few here and there. And this year, I think they hit more hooks than we've seen them at in a while in years past. But any goals that you have set for yourself besides winning a championship? I mean, now you've won 2 in 10 years. Nobody's done that. Or did you say since 2014, Mike? Nobody.
2013. So what it was, Ron, I pulled my quick notes every year or every poll I'd go to. I would just grab the last 10 years worth of finishers. Well, I just pulled up right here and I thought, well, let's look at the whole class. Going back to 2013, that was the first year of the class for the Outlaws. It's never been repeated. No repeat. So I've been saying in the last 10 years, folks, we haven't had a repeat finisher. I should have been saying in the history of this class, we've never had a repeat winner. So Brady is the first ever repeat points champion in the light limited pro stock class. That's a little history sitting right here on Outlawed Live. That's got to make you feel good.
It does. It does. Yeah. And goals, you know, eventually I want to see Easton here next to me. I want to see him run the tractor. And, you know, everybody's goal is you always want to go pull in Louisville in the winter.
Sure.
You know, so eventually, you know, I'll probably, you know, have to move up a class because our class isn't there. And, you know, that's always everybody's goal is to head that way.
Yeah, Midwest Winter Nationals, is that something that you've ever participated in? Is that kind of your all's Louisville in your class, or do you have any?
Yeah, and I've never went. I don't know. Mike and Jared always go out there in the winter, and they always want me to go along with them, but I always just hang back here.
Yeah,
I think my wife plans a vacation that time of year.
Hey, those guys are crazy.
Yeah,
Brady.
Yeah, they are.
I've heard some Jared Johansson hotel stories coming back from the days of Gordyville or Shipshewana or wherever the many places it's been out there. But I hear they have a good time.
Yes.
Yeah, I drank beer with all you guys, but
yeah.
Oh, Jared, boy, he told me, he said, we're going to go to Mexico. Did you go to Mexico with him?
No,
you don't like Mexico.
I'm scared to go with Jared to Mexico. I'll go a lot of places.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking we will end up in a Mexican jail and big trouble down there somehow.
Yep.
That's the opening to a bad country song or a good Saturday Night Live skit right there. Jared Johansson takes his buddies to Mexico. That's
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good time. So yeah, you want to pull in Louisville. So yeah, you'd have to move up a class. So that's a possibility then if 4-1s. If things get reined in a little bit and they're not popping several turbochargers every season, maybe that's a possibility then.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. You know, that box turbo, that's how we started. You know, we started with a box turbo in the light limited pro. I ran the precision until I think 2017 or 18. And, you know, there's talk of our class possibly going back to it after the last few years of all the turbos that we've destroyed.
Yeah, I think it was 18 was probably the last year, because I think maybe 19 was Dunclaw was still running the box turbo, and people said he couldn't win a championship with the old turbo, and he did.
Yep.
In that 2019 season. So yeah. So how old is the little guy there? How old is Easton?
He's 11.
11. Got 5 more years, huh?
We're getting close.
Yeah, he reminds me of that all the time.
Well, that'll go by like that, though. For you, Brady, it'll go by like that. For him, it's an eternity.
Exactly.
But once he gets on that seat, you pretty much lost your ride, right?
I know.
You're ready for the next 5 years.
Next year, I got to get my nephew on, let him pull it some more, give up the reins, and get him involved more. And so there's going to be a time where I'm going to end up like my dad, where he just I'll be the sled spotter and the professional tractor backer. I think he did 4 or 5 of them in Spencer the other day.
Yep. He can put in the work now and earn his keep, and he'll appreciate it a lot more when he gets to that time. But you'll probably be just as excited or more excited watching him pull than you pulling.
Oh, exactly. That's when we go on Sundays and take him to the lawnmower pulls. It's so much fun just watching him talk to his tractor pulling buddies that he's got, and it's just a mini version of what we got going on.
Do they sit around drinking root beer afterwards?
There you go.
Yeah, Gatorade and root beer.
Brady, anybody you want to thank for a successful season this year?
Yeah, I need to thank the Lord. I need to thank my parents, my wife and kids, my nephew for running the tractor when I can't, Joe Bush, Ag Repair, Joe, Kyle, and Mark down there do a great job. After Rock Valley, talked to Taylor. Taylor put an edge on my tires, and that's really where the season come together. We knew we had a good motor, and we had a good, but when Taylor put that edge on there, they really hooked, and that's what turned our season around, I think.
Awesome. All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. Congratulations. Maybe going for 3 next year, man. The trifecta. Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, we said that the other day, and I told my nephew he's going to have to do a lot more driving. I said, we're going to.
Congratulations, man. I'm glad we were able to get you on tonight. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, tell everybody there at the house we said hey, and congratulations. Brady Goslar, winner of the Light Limited Pro Stock Division this year. Gets to walk across the stage at the banquet. So we'll see you at the banquet, buddy.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Brady. Yeah, good guy there. Good guy, great team. Great
never seen him wear anything other than a smile on his face. Some guys come out and they're wearing frowns and they're this. I've never seen him not happy as a clam at a pull. That's a guy who just from the minute he gets there to the minute he leaves loves everything about being at a tractor pull.
Yeah, that's awesome. Glad he got him a win this year. He's gotten so close. Like last year.
Well, you got it in your notes. You keep your notes are a little bit more detailed, and you've said he's been second place for how many years in a row, or how many years in the past couple of years?
2 or 3 times in the last 5 years, man.
Yeah.
And then Meister didn't get a hold of him, didn't get past him till about mid-season or late in the season last year.
Late.
Brady, I mean, I think he may have had more wins last year than he had this year. That's something we ought to look up. But he had a great season last year. The Meister just came out second half of the season and just like gangbusters was beating up on everybody. So,
and it's interesting that he kind of alluded to it too in that class this year. It was, we saw Gira's jump out to a big lead early, and then it was a second half finish that ended up winning it. If you think back to 2024, after about 3 or 4 hooks, it was actually Mike Hargens was your leader in 2024. So early leads have not proven to be, that we've had heavy hitters early on, but it's turned out to be a back half of the class kind of season, not a front half. So we've seen a shakeup on the second half of both these years, the past 2 years.
Yep. So congratulations to Brady Gosler. Chew on that for next week. As what matters to you more? Is it, a longer show and more classes, or is it quality of the show and 2.5, 3.5 hour show? I mean, that's kind of what, as a promoter, I'm in worn the promoter hat. And that's what I would shoot for. 2.5, 3.5 hour show. Because Mike, and you observe things as well as I do, and at 2.5 hours, people are starting to leave.
They will. They definitely will. And I would say at that 9:30, 10 o'clock in there too. And sometimes it can be a real bummer, because if you know that you as an announcer or promoter are sitting there saying, guys, we've got the 2-wheelers, we've got something waiting in the wings, and you're like, you're gonna want to see this, but at the same time you're kind of saying, well, I understand. And I think pulling's a family sport too, and I'm a huge believer in this. And the kiddos, they get tired and they get so much. And I've also said, if you want to keep your crowd, put the semis last, because the kids want to see the semis. The big kids do too. Big mom and dad, or have Bigfoot or a monster truck come out at the end of it. Those kids will beg to see one of those They won't even let mom and dad go home. But no, you'll kind of see them start thinning out, if you push it too far.
Yeah. Now I'm a Bigfoot fan. I'm a monster truck fan, but
yep.
I'm that pulling purity guy. I'm not crazy about mixing.
Don't like reining them in with don't like dangling the gimmick or whatever you want to say at the end of it. That's
I'll be honest with you, as a kid and even as a young man, when I would go to pulls like say at Arrowhead Stadium and Kemper Arena, monster trucks were cool, but the car eating robots and the
jet powered car
and the guy blowing himself up in the box.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? I don't want to see this. Even as a kid, it bored me to death. I just wanted to see pulling, but variety is very important. I mean, Mike and I got excited when the Alice Chalmers started pulling in Super Farm.
The Super Farm.
Variety is super important.
I heard, I don't remember if you told me or if I heard it from someone else or if I read it somewhere. I heard we're going to see an Oliver in the Outlaws next year.
Okay.
By your reaction must not have been you. Yeah, I don't even remember who told me or what.
A V8 Oliver, right? I think I may have been the one to mention that, but I can't remember who told me.
Yep.
Caterpillar.
Okay, right? It's a cat. Because I remember asking, was it going to be a Detroit? But it's going to be the cat. No, because they said it's a 3208 cat. Well, shoot, was it Alan Ulmer's on here commenting left and right? Alan, was it you that told us that? That feels like something Alan would have told me. So, anyway.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see an Oliver next year. We don't have any Olivers or Minneapolis Molines in the entire Outlaws right now. So I'd like to see some Oliver Green.
So, well, Mike, great show. We'll let the Outlaw fans that tune in every week chew on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But congratulations, Brady Goslar. Congratulations, all of the points champs we crowned this weekend. The app is open for right now for Lufkin for Dragon and Pulling in the Pines, so you can sign up now. Superstock Diesel 4-wheel drive will be added on the app. I think Pro Stock 4x4 will be added as well. That's non-points. And the Texas Hot Farm, I think, will be added as well. And that is non-points as well. But 4 classes will finish down there: 2-wheel drive, mod, Pro Stock tractors, and limited Pro diesel pickups. So big show coming up next month at Dragon and Pulling in the Pines. Also, for the banquet, anybody that has kids that are going to go to school, anybody that's going continuing education, 2 different scholarships that are available. If you have somebody that's connected to your family that's going to school, apply. Go to the website, outlawpulling.com, pull off the correct form. There are 2 different forms. There's one that is for continuing education only. So make sure you pull the correct form and fill it out and send it in, because we like to give back with the Outlaws. And we like to support the families that are part of the Outlaw family. So yeah, get on there and fill out that application. You never know, you might get a little extra cash for college, help you get through college. I know I've been to college. Cash is scarce when you're in college. So you live off of ramen noodles and cheap beer. So did I say that? I don't know if I said that.
I'm still paying off. It dawned on me, Ron, because I refuse to, even though I'm eligible as a teacher, I refuse to apply for student loan forgiveness. I'm still paying my student loans. I think I am almost going to be as close to retirement. As a teacher, you can retire after 25 years of teaching service. This is my 12th year of teaching, and I am still paying off my student loans. So I've got about a few more years where I'm going to be as close to the end as I was to the beginning. What I'm trying to say is apply for the scholarships. That stuff, you don't want to be stuck looking down the barrel like I was, trying to find that extra cash elsewhere. So that's important stuff. And Ron Stone's going to do push-ups. So be sure to get out there. 2,200 push-ups, so 22 days leading up to Dragon and Pulling in the Pines.
That's the goal.
Pledge your I'm glad you said something, because $1 sounds reasonable, but I'm not a math guy. I was like, I'll do $1. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Pledge reasonable.
I might surprise you.
If you're a business and you can do $2,200, it's going to one of the best causes that it could go for.
Yeah. Start out low. Start out, dimes, nickels, like that per push-up, because
And if you want to, yeah, I tell you what, Ron, 22 has a great ring to it as well. So maybe we could combine. You carry the 2200, I'll grab the other 22.
Oh, gotcha. You'll do one push-up a day for.
Yeah, I'll get one a day.
I'll do 100. Okay. All right. It's a lofty goal, but it's for a good cause. I'm going to try to get it done. So reach out to me. We may have some kind of site set up. I'm going to get with Mission 22, maybe set up something where it might be easier to do that. But in the meantime, reach out to me. And I'm going to start that on the 27th. That way I can finish on the 18th on the track of October. I start, my first day is the 27th of this month. That is, oh, wow, that's coming up, Mike. That's a week from Saturday. I'm going to start that. So I got to get off here and get some conditioning done. Get ready.
Do you do like practice? How do you condition for push-ups? Do you do push-ups to get better at pushing? Do you do some like pull-ups first,
No,
or is that more of like a you get some of those curls going, or
more push-ups, more push-ups, more push-ups. Yeah. And these are military style push-ups too. I'm not gonna be on my knees or have my butt in the air. I'm gonna do it as if I were in boot camp. So it'll be military style push-ups. So thanks everybody for watching tonight. We will see you next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time on Outlawed Live. Thanks for watching.